Welcome. Today, I want to talk about one of the biggest perceived barriers when it comes to creating our optimal health and well-being, and that is, of course, time. I just don't have the time to move my body. I don't have the time to exercise. I can't find the time to meditate or whatever it is that you might like to be doing more of to make you feel better in your body. And often when we talk about the barrier of time, the conversation then leads to choice and lifestyle choices. And where in your life and your lifestyle are you choosing to invest your time and your energy doing things that don't energetically nourish you? And where could you take those choices and choose something different that would then allow you to have more time to spend doing the things that do energetically nourish you? And I'm absolutely all for that conversation and looking at where are we spending our time and investing our energy and doing things that could be better spent elsewhere and in other ways. But let's move forward even from that conversation and actually look at our statement. When we're looking at something like, I don't have enough time, I wonder if perhaps the more true and honest statement is that it's just not happening quick enough. So if we're here and we would ideally like to be here, and we know that it's going to take certain choices, certain steps, and that it's going to take time, I wonder if it seems like such a stretch from here to here because we're not in acceptance of the time it's going to take, but we're not, and this is more the point, we're not in acceptance of the phase that we are at and the stage that we are in. So, for example, I'm a new mum. I've got two children under 3. I'm busy and I would like to spend my time, getting to know my body again, rehabilitating my deep core and my pelvic floor and just experiencing some movement in my body. But I just can't find the time. What if the truth is I just know that it's going to take a lot of time and that scares me? And if I'm in resistance of where I'm at, like when I feel in my body, it feels uncomfortable. I look at my body and it looks so different and I haven't been able to adjust to that yet. That is very different to I don't have the time. And then the language shift and the mindset shift actually comes down to, rather than I don't have the time, and it's challenging to create more time when we are in the midst of motherhood, perhaps the language and the mindset shift is I am learning to be in more full acceptance of the phase that I am in and the stage that I am in. And when I can be in more full acceptance of the stage and the phase that I am in, that feels the stretch and the gap between where I would ideally like to be at some other point in my life and where I am just doesn't seem so stretched and so far and so unattainable, because I'm actually can be in acceptance of where I am. And when I can feel good where I am here, that over there is less important because I'm not working towards and striving towards something that I will feel good when. I'm allowing myself to learn to experience, to feel good now in this moment. And when we shift that mindset and that perspective to feeling good now, I also sense that the spaciousness that allows helps us to feel more creative and more resourceful and more motivated to actually spend the time that we can invest doing the things that nourish us. What I often see too is when we're looking for this big jump and this big gap and where we're not in acceptance of where we're at, is this sense of the all or nothing approach. And that sense of, if I can't do all of the things in an ideal way, like where I would think, yes, that's perfect. An example is I would like to do a 1 hour uninterrupted exercise meditation regime, but instead all I can find the time for is a 15 minutes continuously interrupted. I start to move my body, I take 3 breaths, and then I'm being interrupted, or whatever it might be. When we're having this all or nothing, so this is where I would ideally like to be, and this is what I would like it to look like, and this is like how I would like to feel during my movement, meditation, exercise, practice, whatever it is. But in reality, this is what it looks like, and this is a 15-minute chunk, it's interrupted, etc. We take then that all or nothing approach. If it doesn't look like this, I am not prepared to do that, so I just don't have the time. But this isn't going to come unless we start where we're at and accept the phase that we are in. And as we start to reel in those small little chunks of time, those small investments in choices that actually feel nourishing, we then start to create this spaciousness in our life and in our world, and particularly in our mind, so that we can then make better and better choices. So if we don't choose to invest our time in that small 15-minute chunk that we, I'm just having an example, but if we don't invest our energy there, then we continuously then invest our energy doing something different, because it's not how we would ideally like it to look. But rather than looking at it as where am I spending time doing things that aren't good for me, I'm going to feel guilty about that and shame myself for that, perhaps it's just a simple mindset shift of, okay, where am I at? What can I be in acceptance of? What perhaps feels really uncomfortable for me to actually sit with and be with, in the sense of, for example, I feel really uncomfortable with the fact that I'm going to have to go through all of those foundational, slow building movements, because really what I would like to do is being out there and running and hitting the pavement and sweating and, feeling that rush of energy through my body. And if I can't feel that, then I really don't want to be here doing, these slow exercises that are reconnecting to my deep core and pelvic floor. That's where my resistance is. So actually my practice is going to be around, how can I more fully embrace that and accept that, so that I can start where I'm at. And when I'm starting where I'm at and being in more full acceptance where I am, I don't need to worry myself with that future me, because I can only be with myself where I am now. So the conversation shifts from I don't have time to I am learning to be in full acceptance of where I am at, and that looks like X, Y, or Z for me. I'd love you to try it, see how it works for you, and comments and feedback, questions, always welcome. See ya.